Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ben, and in today's video, we are going to take an in-depth look at the Hyperbaric Oxygen Therapy Chamber from Warrior Willpower. So I think it's important to point out that hyperbaric oxygen therapy, or HBOT, as I'll refer to it throughout the rest of this video, has actually been around for a very long time. It's a proven therapy that's been used in hospitals and clinics all around the world for many, many years, and it does in fact work in certain situations. Now, I am assuming that if you are watching this video that you already have a little bit of experience with HBOT. Perhaps you have tried it in the past in a clinical setting, or perhaps maybe you have seen somebody like a famous influencer or a biohacker using one of these, advocating the benefits of it, and perhaps you are looking to get an HBOT unit in your own home. Now, I want to let you guys know right up front that Warrior Willpower, they did send me this unit to try out and to show off to you guys. But with that said, just like every other video that I create, I try to be as honest and transparent as possible. And so all thoughts and opinions are my own. Now, one other disclaimer, guys, I want to just let you know, I am not your doctor. I am not offering any sort of medical advice or anything of the sort. I'm simply providing some information on this particular HBOT unit, so take it for what it's worth. Let's continue the video. All right, so with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get this thing unboxed. Let's take a look and see what's included. We'll see the specs and the features, and ultimately, let's see how well it functions. All right, so this very first box right here, this is the oxygen concentrator right here. It is packaged up fairly well. And so this is a very heavy unit. It's likely that you'll need somebody to kind of help you out. If you reach down here on the sides, there are some handles, and so you can lift this up and pull it out. Now that we have this unboxed, let's just take a quick look at here. We have this basic control panel right here, just the on and off buttons. And then of course we have the inlets right there for your hoses. We have the flow meter right there, shows you how much air is flowing through there. But otherwise, this is a pretty basic unit. Up here, up top, is this little panel that opens here. We have the face mask, so it looks like a little bit of storage. Otherwise, this is a pretty basic unit. We do have some wheels down here, which is really great news, so that you can wheel this around wherever you like it. And they lock, of course. The other thing that you might want to know is that this does plug into a standard outlet, so you don't have to worry about any electrical issues or anything like that. This is just an air cooling unit. This is optional. This is something that you can buy here, but all right, and let's take a look at this a little bit later, show you how to get this set up. And finally, we have the chamber right in here. So it comes with all of the hoses, a few of the other connections right there. And this unit right here, and actually down here, we have a few more hose connections. With this right here, it's relatively light. So let's go ahead and get this out. Now that I have everything unboxed, let me go over some of the core features here. So if we look at the chamber right here, this is like a TPU covering right here, and this is a ultra thick covering. If you're familiar with like stand-up paddleboard, something like that, that is basically what this material seems like it's made of. So this gray part right here, this is like an inflatable frame to kind of keep everything together so it doesn't start rolling around on you. So if you come around here and look underneath, you can actually see the inflation port right there. And again, if you're familiar with stand-up paddleboard, the inflatable kind, that will look very familiar to you right there. And then of course, we have some of these little ports right here. We have several of those around the unit, and that is for these little hose connectors right here. We actually have some pressure release valves. It looks like we have some blanks, and then also we have some of the air inlets right there. So we'll go ahead and I'll show you how those go and where they go. We have two sizes of hoses right here, like a 6 and an 8 millimeter hose. We have the connector right here to actually fill it up with air. If you look at the zipper right here, this is like a 2-layered zipper. So if you unzip this and open this up inside, you actually have another zipper right underneath there. And so that will keep this pressurized, make sure that no air escapes, anything like that. Now, I'll be honest, I have never used an HBOT unit, so I have really no idea how these come together. And these are the instructions right here. So this is actually their other unit. This unit you can actually, I guess, sit down inside of. And so it's a little bit different. And it does have some instructions here. But I'll be honest, I read over them and they don't seem super clear to me. And particularly since this is a different looking model, a little uncertain exactly where everything goes. I think I'm going to be able to get it figured out, and I'll show you guys what I come up with. So with that said, it looks like the very first thing we want to do is inflate the surrounding support structure. So let's go ahead and get that connected first. All right, so in order to set up the, I guess, this gray structure right here, first of all, we want to go ahead and get this piece right here. And this is going to connect to one of these hoses. I'm not sure which size it is. Again, we have two different size hoses. It's like a 6mm, the smaller one, which if we push it into here, that looks too small. So it looks like we're gonna have to do one of these larger hoses right here that comes in this pack. Looking at this, it doesn't look too complicated. It looks like we just kind of take the adapter that we had right here and we just plug it in right there. We attach the hose into this side right there, so that hose, and then that attaches to the oxygen concentrator right there, the bottom. And what that looks like over here is you take the other end of the hose and you actually just insert it into this bottom spot right there and just kind of push it in as much as you can. And if you do that, it has this automatic lock right here. And so this hose, as I tug on it, it actually stays in there. So good so far. And so for the other side, we just take the other end of the hose and we just plug it into here, just push in. And if you push in all the way, it'll stop and that locks into place. Then to get this part connected, you wanna make sure that this center pin right here, you just kind of push down on it, maybe twist it just slightly, and so that the pin comes out like that. And that'll allow air to go in. You take this little piece right here, it's threaded, and you insert it, and then what you do is you just twist it. And you just twist it till it stops, and then it's firmly in place, it's like locked in. From there, we'll just go ahead and plug this in. Once it's plugged in, I'm pretty sure all we do is just hit the power button, and this should start to inflate. Let's check that out. All right, a little hello message right there. Yeah, there it goes. Now you can see that it's all filled up right now. This only took about 2 minutes or so. And when it's done filling up, all you have to do is come back over here and you twist that, and it'll automatically seal. And then you take the lid right here, take this and you just stick it in there and you twist that. This right here is a release valve. And so if this gets filled up with too much air, you're not sure how much air to put in, this will actually release some of that air and you'll start hearing it. So if you hear that while you're filling this up, you know that you have too much. And this will automatically deflate this until it's at the right pressure. So this is like really solid right here. Okay, now that we have everything inflated, we've come to a really important part, and that is installing these little valves right here. I want to show you guys exactly where these valves go to. Again, the instructions aren't super clear, and so this might clarify some things for a lot of you. So let's go ahead and talk about the air inlets. Now, if you take a look at these pieces right here, these hose fittings, you have air inlet right there, and then you have one that's just marked inlet right there. And of course, the inlet is a little bit different because it has this piece right here where the hose on the inside, this will go to the face mask that's gonna deliver oxygen to you, and the other ones don't have that. So you're gonna take the two that are air inlet, and those will go right here on the back side of this unit. Now I'm gonna back up just a little bit so you guys can see the positioning of all this, because technically you can't actually put these connections on either side. However, when this came with the manual release already on there, and you can see that it's already over here. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go assume that this is where your head is gonna be. It's gonna be on this side. Again, if you guys wanted to change it, you definitely can. You could take that out, flip it around and put it over here on the other side, because this side over here has the same exact hose fittings, or same exact inlets right there. So there we have the manual release on that side. We are going to take this one, the inlet. This is the one where you're gonna connect the hose on the inside. And again, this is assuming that your head is gonna be sitting right here where the mask will go in. So you'll just take this piece right here and you actually just screw it in. And you're gonna screw this in all the way. And so it's really nice, snug and tight. Now you don't want to snug that up too much because this is plastic right there. It could break that. But if you just do it really tight by hand, that's not going anywhere. And then what we'll do is we have two of these. We have two of these air inlet ones. They're labeled. Come around here to the back side. So we have one right here, and then we have this one right there. So again, you're going to take these. This will be where the air is pumped in. And just make sure that you go carefully on here. You don't want to force these. You don't want to strip the threads there. Just twist that as hard as you can. Then we'll take the other air inlet. It's labeled. We're going to screw it into this side. Once you are done screwing that in, we're going to come to this other side. We have a couple more that we need to screw in. And the first one is this automatic pressure relief valve. There are two of these. And so this one, you'll just come around here to the back side and you'll screw it in right here. Again, you don't want to force any of these. So you just screw this in. Once you get it right, you'll know, because you won't have any problems screwing that in and get it nice and snug as you can get it. And then the other one that we're going to plug in down here, well, there's a couple more, but we have this one. This is just like a blank. Okay, it has a little O-ring right there, and this will go right here up top. So you're going to screw that in right there. So the other pressure release valve, just screw it in right here. Nice and snug. And then we have this other blank, which we're gonna put right over here on this other side. Now we are almost there. All we have to do at this point is connect the hoses. So you can see here, we have the 2 hoses that are on the bottom part of the concentrator right here. These are the 8 millimeters. And then this top one, that is for the oxygen that is gonna go inside the chamber. That is the 6 millimeter one. That'll go in the very top. So one of the 8 millimeter tubes we already connected. And in order to disconnect this from the inflator right here, all you have to do is take this little O-ring right here and you just kind of pull this in and the hose should be able to pull out because right now it's locked into position. So if you just kind of bring this in, the hose will come right out just like that. Then what you do is you take that 8 millimeter hose that you just disconnected and you come over here to one of the air inlets. And all you have to do is push this in, push it in nice and snug, give it a little pull, and that's in there. Once more, we take that 8 millimeter, push it in there, nice and snug, give it a little pull, make sure it doesn't come out. And then you take the other side of the hose, you come over here to the air inlet, push in, nice and firm, kind of give it a little tug, and that's perfect. And then finally, you take your 6 millimeter hose right here, and you put that in the very top one, the one that says outlet. Push that in just like the other ones. Give a little pull, make sure it's nice and snug. Take the other end of that 6 millimeter, we come around here. I'm just gonna actually kind of fish it underneath here, and you just push it right into there. One last time, make sure it's snug, give it a little pull. Now that we have most of the initial setup complete, we're gonna go ahead and open this up. We're gonna connect the oxygen mask to the inside, and that will go to this valve over here. So it has that little valve that sticks out on the inside. So let's go ahead and get that connected. So in order to connect this oxygen mask right here, I'm gonna go ahead and hop inside and show you guys how that's done. All right, so I'm on the inside right now. We're about to connect this hose. Yeah, it's a little bit tight. Of course, once you close the zippers, then it can actually fill up with air. So right now it's slightly compressed. So if you come up here, you can see on the inside, you just take this oxygen hose and you just push it right onto this, right there. And then of course you connect the other hose right there and you can put this oxygen mask on when it starts. Now, I already mentioned this. I just want to show you, this is right above me, that this is a release valve. So if you find that like you need to get out of here really quick and you need to drop the pressure, all you have to do is actually just open or close this. So you just twist it right there and it'll easily open it up. And so it releases the pressure, then you can get out of here really quick. Now, before we turn on the oxygen concentrator, let me just go over a couple things here. This is a very basic and simple unit. If you come up here to the control panel, we have the on-off switch, and then these buttons right here basically just set the timer. So it's extremely easy. And then down here we have the flow meter. So the flow for a hyperbaric chamber is anywhere, for one at home, should be anywhere from about 5 to 10 liters per minute. And so once the air starts flowing in there, you can just go right here and adjust that, and you'll see this little metal ball down there, and that will just kind of hover exactly where it's supposed to be. But besides that, you just turn it on and you let it go. I just turned on the unit, but as far as the concentrator goes, it's really not super noisy. It definitely has kind of a loud hum to it. You can hear it right here on the microphone. And if you look at the decibel meter, we're anywhere from like 58 to 60 decibels right there, standing approximately 3 feet away from it. If we come back just a little bit more, goes down to like 55. And also you have to realize that these hoses are fairly long right there. So if you wanted to kind of place this like several feet away from the chamber, if you feel like it's too noisy, you can absolutely do that. So now that I have everything set up, let's go ahead and talk about the initial quality of this unit. So, you know, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to talk about the quality of a unit as far as the construction, simply because you really need time to see how well it'll actually hold up, because initial quality for most items is pretty good. And that is the same thing with this one. I'm looking at it, all the seams, they're very tight. And we see some double stitching there for the zippers. Everything looks really good. I don't see any like excess glue anywhere. As far as the frame here goes, I mean, everything blew up really well. It's holding air perfectly. And there's no red flags to anything. You know, if I come over to the oxygen concentrator, it looks, I mean, it's basic, but I mean, the overall construction of it, it looks very good. I mean, as good as it can be, really. And so I would definitely give this a pass so far. Again, this would really require some long-term durability tests to really determine, you know, how well this is going to hold up. But for right now, I mean, it looks really good. It looks comparable to anything else that I've seen in person. Now let's go ahead and talk about a few of the specs. So physically, this is about 90 inches long. And then as far as the diameter here of this unit, it is approximately, it's going to be about 30 inches round. So as far as being on the inside, once it's inflated, it actually feels very roomy inside. If you are claustrophobic, that will be a hit or miss. It does have some windows here to kind of help alleviate that. But if you're extremely claustrophobic, you might not like this whatsoever. Overall, I find it to be very roomy inside. I went ahead and sat in there for a little bit earlier, and it was fine. Had no problems with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the oxygen concentrator right here. This is a 1.5 ATA. That means atmospheres absolute. And for a home unit, this is considered a mild hyperbaric oxygen chamber. You'll see that term a lot online. And that is about the peak pressure that you'll find for a home unit. Now, if you go to a hospital or more of a professional setting, they do have it up to about 3 ATA, which is quite a bit more. But there is absolutely plenty of research that establishes that the 1.5 is very acceptable for most conditions. One thing that I see a lot of people complain about online about HBOT units that you use at home is the fact that they can get very hot and muggy on the inside. And that's totally understandable, but there is a solution. For instance, where your Willpower does have this air cooler right here, this is a separate charge for one of these. But basically, you just take one of the oxygen hoses and you just plug it into this side right here. It extracts all of the humidity and pumps out the cool air right here. And this goes directly into the unit itself. And so this is a solution that is available that will help cool the air on the inside. It's not exactly cheap, but it works effectively well. So once again, I do apologize for the noise. I have everything hooked up right here with the air cooler, and I have the hose right here that's blowing out. And this is definitely significantly cooler than the air that was going in there before. And so this line right here, actually is just connected right here, and that blows directly into the unit. Now, if you are thinking about getting an HBOT unit for home, there are a few do's and don'ts as far as things that you want to take inside of here. If you want to take some blankets, pillows, anything to make you a little bit more comfortable, absolutely you can do that. Take a book inside there. However, it's strongly discouraged to take anything electronic. So, any type of like ebooks, cell phones, tablets, anything like that, you really should not put inside here. Now, I know if you go to some places that have these same types of units, they'll allow that. But the general consensus is that you shouldn't take anything electronic inside of here. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about some of the pros and cons of this particular unit. All right, so pro number one, which for some of you might be considered a con as well, and that is the price tag. This retails, as of this filming, $3,000, and for the air cooler, that's an additional $800. Now, that is not cheap by no means. However, comparatively to a lot of other units, that is actually a very competitive price. And in fact, if you have ever gone to a wellness clinic or a rehab facility where they offer this and you've paid cash, you'll know that that can quickly add up because some of those sessions run anywhere from $100 to $150 or more per session. And with HBOT, the benefits are something that accumulates over time, so it can actually be a very slow process. So some people are actually signing up for a 40 to 60 visit plan to do HBOT. And so when you look at the price of this one, it doesn't look so steep after all. Which leads me to pro number two, and that is the fact that you can use this unit at home. You can use it in the comfort of your own home. You don't have to actually go drive to a clinic to use it. So the fact that you can do that, you don't have to worry about getting out of your PJs, sign me up. The third pro is the fact that you are not compromising when you purchase this unit. If you go to, again, like a wellness clinic, a rehab center, a lot of those units are almost identical to this one. They're at the same pressure, the 1.5 atmospheres, absolute. And so, the fact that you can do this at home, you don't have to worry about an ongoing trip or expenses, is a huge plus. Now let's go ahead and talk about the cons. So con number one, which again could also be a pro, is the fact that this does require some space. As you can see, this is over 6 foot long, and it does require some space in order for you to be able to set it up. But the pro to that is the fact that you can actually disassemble this and put it away and put it in a closet. So there is a little bit of effort there if you do require the extra space in that particular room, wherever you might have this. But overall, it's really not too bad. Now, the second con was the instructions that were included with this particular unit. Now, I am a pretty handy person. I'm pretty visual, so I can look at a schematic and kind of figure things out. But I didn't feel like the instructions were very clear. It doesn't really tell you how any of this works or how it's put together necessarily. It does, but it's not great. So hopefully this video will help you be able to put it together, but the instructions, they could certainly be improved. But besides those two small little complaints, overall, it's a pretty solid unit. All right, guys, as I said at the very beginning of this video, I am not your doctor, and I did not create this video to offer any sort of health advice whatsoever. However, I did see a lot of people on various forums online that have asked a lot of questions about this. Because this is a fairly new unit, there was more questions than answers. And so I wanted to take the opportunity today to simply just show this off, unbox it, show you what's included with it, show you some of the specs, and also show you how to put it together, because I know that there are a lot of questions online about where certain things go. Now, I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions or comments about anything I talked about in this video, go ahead and leave those down in the comment section down below. There is also an affiliate link that'll get you $200 off. So if you are interested in this unit and you feel like it'll be a good fit for you, by all means, go ahead and click on that link. But otherwise, I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next video.